What up, though? Good morning and welcome to another episode of AM Opinionated. I'm your host. I go by a plethora, a methra, a plethora of names, monikers, one appellation. Uh, Thank you for rocking with me this morning. Those of you who are up this early. Um, if you have tuned in to AM Opinionated or Notoriously Opinionated before, thank you. I appreciate you. Salute. However, if this is your first time tuning in to an episode of AM Opinionated, welcome. Um, so I've been busy. I've been busy trying to make these channels better, trying to learn all I can about the process. Um, Trying to become a mini movie maker. But I'm learning. I'm learning. I got a 20-year curve that I gotta overcome. I'm gonna do it. I'm not even tripping. Like I had somebody call me smart last week for doing something basic. You know what I'm saying? For doing something elementary. It was like, oh, you smart. I'm like, do you know how many IQ points I'd have to lose to be considered smart? You know. But I rock with it. It is what it is. But so my first opinion, my my first opinion. So I'm gonna get off Nate Robinson for one day, maybe. But my first opinion is a public service announcement. So, but I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. It's a story I told before, right? But I believe just because of the content of the day, the content of this particular segment, I need to tell the story again. Let me adjust my Good morning, cousin. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm trying to do my thing. I'm really trying. Is I'm hey I'm getting better every episode. I get more comfortable and things of that nature. But my my cousin Rhonda K, uh she probably got on some Chiefs gear right now. It's Monday. She probably got on some Chiefs gear laying on the couch. Um but so yeah, let me adjust my because this plays a part in what I want to discuss. Briefly. So um I'd gone to long-term lockdown for you know survival. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to. There were some things that occurred. There's some things that occur in prison, and you go into uh battle survivor mode, and so it's like um whoever it's gonna be, it's not gonna be me. That's kind of the mode you go into when you when you enter places like where I was in the 90s. So I ended up on long-term lockdown. Uh I had a partner that was down there, right? So he was like right across from me on lockdown. He was doing like he had to do like maybe a little over a year um on long-term lockdown, and that's during the time when they could keep you on long-term lockdown almost indefinitely. I know a guy that was on lockdown for 22 years on lockdown. You know, that was more than most people's whole sentence, and he was on lockdown that entire time. But anyway, that has nothing to do with the story. Um, so there's two things they tell you that you are not supposed to talk about in prison: religion, politics. For some reason, those two topics are taboo for the simple fact that um, they cause a lot of negative energy, and that negative energy turns into problems. So people tell you, stay away from those two topics. Stay away from talking about those topics with people. Okay. Uh, well, I had a partner that wanted to talk religion with me. He had heard about, or he had heard me just talk about religion, uh, just within earshot, and kind of wanted to know my opinion about it. And I kind of told him I have controversial views, controversial to the majority of people, because of how I view religion, how I view certain religions, things that I've studied and learned about certain religions. Uh, like I took a few years out of my schedule and just studied religions. It got to the point to where I had studied so many orthodox religions that I started studying isms. You know, um, yeah, I started studying isms as the religions that are isms. So I have versed myself fairly well with certain things because I try not to talk about things that I don't know about. That I can, if I can't speak about it intelligently, I'm pretty much gonna stay away from it. But so he wanted to talk religion. And I'm like, all right, man. I don't think we really should, but we can. I don't have a problem with talking about it because I don't have anything that I'm trying to convert you to. All I am doing is I'm providing you with knowledge and allowing you to go and research whatever it is that I say for yourself and come to your own conclusion. That's all I'm doing. Come to your own conclusion about whatever it is that I say. Now, that being the case, about an hour after that conversation began, he said he ain't ever want to talk to me again. my man told me that he did not want to talk to me again because of some of the things that I said. Now, again, in what was that? Boys in the Hood. In Boys in the Hood, it was a brother on there that said, I don't care. Matter of fact, it was Charles S. Dutton's character. Was talking about his son. His son was a Muslim. He said, I don't care. And I'm, paraphrasing because I don't remember the movie quote exactly. But to paraphrase him, he was like, I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if it's Jesus, Allah, Buddha, whatever it is that you believe in. If it helps to make you become a better man, if it helps to make you become a better person, I'm with it. Now, I didn't always think like that. I always fit there was a time in my life where I was like, that's stupid. Why would you believe that? I could show you this and I could show you that and blase. But I've grown and elevated because I realized that, people need to believe, and if for some reason it is not yourself that you need to believe in, you need to believe in a dogma or a higher power. That's cool. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. We've been doing it since the dawn. What I'm saying, where I have a problem, common code of mine to any of you that know me, I don't care what you do. I do not. As long as what you do does not negatively affect me, we Gucci, right? Don't try to convert me, convince me, or confuse me, right? It's not going to work. And so I've had people as of late try to convince me, convert me, and confuse me. convert me from what I believe in to what they believe in, confuse me that uh what I believe in is actually wrong, right? You can't convince me of that. No more than I should be trying to convince you of what you believe in, that what you believe in is wrong or incorrect, you know. So this is my public service announcement, right? Most of you are not going to like it. If you continue to try to convince me that what I believe is inaccurate because what you believe is correct, I guarantee you, I will begin to go in. Trust me. Please don't play with me. I will go in on you, and we can play point for point, whatever, you know. I suggest we alternate, because if we play make it take it, I'm going to win faster than normal, you know. And but I warn you, upon taking me up on this, you're not going to like me at the end of it. I'm just keeping it 100, because I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to confuse you about anything. I'm not trying to convert you. If you ask me a question, 9 times out of 10, I won't even say anything unless you ask me a question. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to answer my question according to my belief. Just like when I ask you a question, you're going to answer my question according to your belief, right? The difference is, a lot of times you try to convince me that what I believe is incorrect, and you try to convert me to what you believe because you believe that you are correct. Why can't we all have a semblance of correctness? Anyway, that is my public service announcement. That is my first thought. Stop trying to convert me. Stop trying to convince me. If what I believe is if what I believe helps me to be a better man, let me do that, you know. Anyway, today in human past. So normally I would tell you about a piece of history that a piece of what has been documented as history. But today, normally I would hit you with something like, you know, this person won the Nobel Prize, or this person was this is who this ancient ancestor is that benefited the family, community, nation, and or race. Today, because of what I'm going to talk about briefly in the main topic, and it's going to be really brief now because I spent too much time on the public service announcement. But today in human past, we talk about the founding fathers, right? You talk about the people that helped to create the America that we know today. And one of those key contributors was George Washington, right? And so George Washington said that upon his death, he wanted, no, I'm sorry, not upon his death, upon his wife's death. He said today that upon his wife's death, he wanted all of his slaves to be released. Not upon his death, but upon the death of his wife. So was that supposed to be some magnanimous gesture of his to say, okay, well, I want to free my slaves after everybody that was going to be using them was dead? So that is the difference between history and human past. You know, history would make that seem as if that was this grand gesture. You know, uh, human past lets you know that it wasn't. You know, but at the same time, it's perspective. You know, and everything is, you know, from my opinion, everything is perspective. You know, from his perspective, he thought he was doing something that was noble. You know, from the perspective of the slaves, though, what you think they thought? I don't think it was the same. Um, Now, my main topic that I'm gonna touch on today, um, my main topic, I was watching a video this weekend, right? And it was a TED talk, right? I'm watching this TED talk, and on this TED talk was this police officer. And the police officer was talking about was telling different stories, you know, how he understands that there is uh, a lot of tension between the black community, the brown community, and the police department, right? And so he was trying to kind of soothe the tensions by talking about what police officers actually go through on a daily basis, but especially when dealing with crisis situations. And he mentioned that, you know, oftentimes a lot of officers will be forced to deploy with uh, the humanity side of things for policies and procedures, right? So it is the policy and procedure of a police officer who was the one that was on the scene when someone's loved one or family member or whatever dies. They have to be the ones to tell them, and they have to ask them all these questions uh, on the spot, you know, that would be considered insensitive, in my opinion. Um, I witnessed it. I witnessed how the police will come and, you know, their thing is, I know this is a tough time for you, but I have to ask you this and I have to ask you that. I have to ask you this personal question, even though I see that you're a mess. I have to ask you that personal question, even though I see that you are breaking down mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You are not mentally equipped to answer the questions that I'm asking you, but it's the policy and procedure. So if there is a question as to what one of the main things are that divide the community from law enforcement, I would say that that's probably a big one. The fact that you can't wiggle in sensitivity to a sensitive time because you have to follow the policies and procedures. Well, are there any policies and procedures in the black and brown communities when dealing with police? Unfortunately, there are. And unfortunately, these policies and procedures are starting to be taught to little ones so that when they grow up, they understand, you know, what are some of the policies and procedures in the black community? What are some of the policies and procedures that are being taught to our young people when encountering law enforcement? Don't move your hands too fast. If you're in a car, not even if you're the driver, if you are the passenger, make sure that your hands are on the dashboard where they can see them. We tell our youth, don't run from the police. They may shoot you in the back. But they see if you walk towards them with your hands up, saying, don't shoot, you're liable to get shot in the chest. So what do we tell our youth? What do we tell them as far as the policies and procedures of dealing with law enforcement? Because if we don't give them the direction and they just try to figure it out on their own, you know what eventually they're going to start figuring out? Well, they're going to shoot me, so I might need to shoot first. That may be the procedure that they figure out is the best thing that saves their life. Because they've seen up to now how it has gone terribly, terribly wrong for black people who do what they're told. So you got Dr. Martin Luther King, you got Malcolm X, you got Nat Turner, you got George Washington, you got Ben Franklin, you got Alexander Hamilton. What do all those people have in common? They were all considered criminals. Martin Luther King, arrested. Nat Turner, considered a criminal, a fugitive. Malcolm X, considered a criminal. He had been in jail. According to England, Washington, Franklin, and Hamilton were all traitors. They were all criminals too. What's the difference? Some got vilified. Some got put on money and are glorified as heroes, American heroes. That is the difference. And that is the difference between the policies and the procedures. So, with that, I'm going to wrap. If you go to my YouTube channel, Notoriously Opinionated, you are going to see a Pan-African flag. If you hover over the Pan-African flag, it should allow you easier access to subscribe to my YouTube channel, right? So go to Spotify. Listen to some of these past episodes of Areas of Human Activity. You can catch all these videos that I do for AIM Opinionated and the Wednesday Primetime podcast of Notoriously Opinionated on Twitter Periscope, on my YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook Live. It's been your man, Negus the God. Remember, support and patronize small and black businesses, especially in this day and age that we live in now. They need it more than ever, right? But I'm gonna hit you with a quote from and this is actually a longer quote than I actually thought it was. Ta-Nehisi Coates. He said, "You must resist the common urge towards the comforting narrative of divine law, towards fairy tales that imply some irresistible justice. The enslaved were not bricks in your road, and their lives were not chapters in your redemptive history. They were people turned to fuel for the American machine. Enslavement was not destined to end, and it was wrong to claim our present circumstance, no matter how improved, as the redemption for the lives of the people who never asked for the posthumous, untouchable glory of dying for their children. Our triumphs can never compensate for this." It's been your man. Peace. I'm out.